Hello. This is just a theory only. I do not have the answers for anything, just a theory and proposed experiment for Skinwalker Ranch. My theory is there is a wormhole present on Skinwalker Ranch. I'll be citing some information and graphics from a paper I found on the Harvard website and from 2021, Gravitational Lensing and Wormhole Shadows. And then a proposed experiment. I think it would be really cool to get some atomic clocks, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and maybe put one here about 30 to 35 feet, a triangle. Put one over here, right, towards the east field or wherever you guys see stuff entering the mesa. And then maybe one down, like wherever you guys are, like, and just, let that ride for about a week and see if there's any difference in the time. This is a proven experiment that works very well, and I know that at one point that there was a quarter of a second difference between the ground and some type of experiment you guys had in the air there. So that to me that's a proven experiment that works. And maybe that could give you some cool information. So that's my experiment thought. But here's just some other thoughts on like what's going on there. In this Harvard paper, I noticed that their theoretical thoughts as far as like kind of what a wormhole looks like or how to graph it to where we can kind of begin to comprehend it looks exactly like the data that you guys are getting. And I think even when it comes to the proportions of the actual entry point or the black spot, the no time, no space spot, could probably be laid right down on top of a lot of the data you're getting. I just think that'd be interesting to see and maybe follow some of the math equations that they have there to see how close theoretically how close the theory is to actually what you guys are seeing. I think that would be kind of cool to do. In the paper, the idea of like a wormhole is that there's an entry point. It's like a roundabout, and you go in and then you go around it and then you get off somewhere, right? So and I guess it could work this way too, I don't know, but like I know anything about wormholes. But anyway, you go out this way or you come in, go out that way, whatever. My thinking is that the more positive numbers that you go into, that would be like the past, like if you went out that way. Or my thoughts are if you went in here and went out in the negative towards the negative numbers, my thinking is that would be in the future. Okay? So I think if with that thought process that if you went into the wormhole this way, right, and came out right at 0, basically you're staying within the same dimension, same time space. It's just you traversed the wormhole, but you really didn't travel in time. You traversed the wormhole. But if you go in here and go there, you're going to go back into the past a little bit. Or down here, you're going to go more into the future, okay? So that's just thoughts, okay? Total theory, all right? So I've taken that same graphic and laid on top of the map here to where this, towards the east field, I think when you guys see things entering the mesa around here, right? And then exiting about here, when you guys saw that UAP come down into the mesa and then it would disappear for just a few seconds, then came out here, my thoughts are that this is what it did. That it really did not go through the ground and through the metal object or the tunnels or whatever's down there. I think that has something to do with the wormhole, with the gravitational pull, that large chunk of metal pulling and using gravity somehow. Again, I don't understand everything about gravity. I'm not sure if any of us do. We understand some, but not all. And that's why sometimes you may see a UAP coming down. It's going through the wormhole, but maybe it's getting off somewhere else. Maybe it's getting off in a different dimension, But the ones that come in and take this route are the ones staying in the same dimension or close to it, within just, I think, less than minus 0.0005 or whatever. So I think that's kind of what's happening. So Occam's razor, right? The simplest answer is usually the right one, right? So my thoughts are, when you're launching rockets, or doing things in this area, and sometimes when you see the UAPs, what if you're just seeing yourself? What if you're seeing your own experiment, yet visualized through the wormhole? All right? My point right here. All right, so let's say that here in season 5, you guys, you launched a rocket, right? Somewhere in here, I think. I don't know the distances of the ranch, but I know that when this rocket launched, all right, when it launched, you guys said that you saw it go, I think somebody said 1,000 feet, somebody said 2,000 feet. So let's just say, around, maybe around 2,000 feet in the air. Okay, I'm not sure. All right, so that's what you saw visually with your own eyes. But then, Eric's data, when it came out, it showed something that looked like this, I think, and it kind of went in a spiral, and then went kind of sideways, and it said into the mesa, right? And then here at the triangle, you saw this on your footage. And so I think the way it was being thought was that something went wrong with the GPS. Something went wrong with it, and then there was some type of foreign anomaly that showed up out here, and you had 5 frames of that anomaly going to the left, right, across the sky. All right. I think you guys already see where I'm going with this, and you might have even considered this and ruled it out. If you have, I've wasted your time. But what if, when the GPS of this rocket here, all right, as it's looking for 3 satellites to get its information, to calculate how fast that signal's coming in backwards and forwards, to come up with how far this has gone off the ground. So 2,500 feet. So anywhere else that you would have shot this rocket off, your GPS data probably would have been absolutely correct. And by correct, that means it would have matched up with what you saw. But when we're talking about physics, when we're talking about theoretical physics, we have to realize that if what we see is different from the data, it doesn't mean the data is incorrect. It means the way that we're interpreting what we're seeing may be incorrect. But in physics, it's not that. I mean, you have to accept the fact that the theory that the physics itself may be different than what you see, but that does not mean it's incorrect. My thoughts are that when this rocket with the GPS on board, it was doing exactly what it was supposed to be doing, okay? And so as it was doing what it was supposed to be doing, it was trying to triangulate, the distances and the time that it took for that information to get back and forth to the rocket. But what if this force, pulled the GPS data? First it went up, right, as the rocket went up, and when it got to that point, that then the data or the signal went through the wormhole, came out at this point, and then started getting its data from here. All right. So basically, these three signals or more that the GPS is looking for, all right, instead of going straight up, they're actually the signals being pulled through the wormhole and then this way. Now again, I don't know exact calculations, but if you saw this thing going, let's say 1,500 feet in the air, okay, that's what you saw with your own eyes. But yet the data said, I don't know, I think maybe 100 feet, or I'm just going to say 100 feet. But the data looked like this, around in a circle and then to the side, and sideways. The data from the GPS was absolutely correct. What my thoughts are, you're getting the data from here. Now, I'm just speculating that the distance between the rocket launch and the triangle is about, I'm going to say, I'm just guessing, let's say half a mile. All right. If it's half a mile, what's that, about 2,600 feet or something? And including this, right, 2,600 feet. So what about the fact that this is like how far that signal traveled through here and up here? And then it'd be interesting to know if when that rocket was launched and your guy there said 4 or 5 seconds later, these things showed up on the screen. All right. I just wonder if that would be a 0.005 calculation, or whatever that calculation would be, from the time of launch to the time of him seeing these things on his screen. Because my thoughts are, what if what you're seeing, okay, in the air and on the screen, all right, is the energy from the rocket? You're not seeing the rocket, but maybe the energy from the rocket. Because remember, you also had 5 frames of a UAP, right, up there in the sky, and they were if I remember correctly, it looked like it came out like this way, right, and got bigger, a little bit bigger and bigger, and 5 frames, it disappeared. Where did it go? It didn't go anywhere. It was finished. I wonder, and again, you just guys would have to look at it, if that sighting of these 5 dots in the sky matches up with the same time that this fuel, that the fuel in the rocket burned out. Hawkins Razor says the simplest explanation is usually right. So when you say we shoot a rocket up in the air and then we see an anomaly somewhere else, the simplest answer would be, well, you're seeing the rocket somehow, right? It's not like something predicted that you guys were going to shoot a rocket over here and then from thousands of miles away wanted to show you itself and came out this way. Like, what does that do? What purpose would that serve? But what if you're seeing, and again, because the wormhole is pulling this stuff sideways, I think that's why he's seeing these sideways graphics. But I think what you're seeing is the actual, as this thing goes and spins around and goes through the wormhole, the data is actually doing that. I think you're seeing those things. I think you're seeing the energy from the rocket. Because that anomaly that went through the mesa, it didn't look like an object. It looked like a light. It looked like energy. And so my thinking is that's what's traveling through there. Because no one, I don't think, has said they've actually seen a physical object enter there and go out. You're seeing the energy from something, the light of something. And so I think the GPS data was absolutely correct. You'd have to do the math here to see the distance between here, and how far it actually went up and what the GPS said. But I think that is the connection. That's just my thoughts. And again, the atomic clock deal, I think would be a really cool experiment. Thanks. Bye.